Hey, what's up, folks? This is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, the channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, I'm back with your weekly Jasmy update today. So I got a little bit of everything in this one. We're going to be covering all kinds of research from our friend Brian Russell. I got circulating supply numbers from our friend Dip Metaverse. I got all kinds of things going on. I got some articles. I've got some video. We're going to be taking a look at Etherscan a little bit. We got a little bit of everything for you in this video. So hopefully we cover just about, you know, kind of like every little area. There's so many different places this can go. But, you know, I got a lot, surprisingly, in a week with almost no news. I've still got a lot to talk about. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just me. But anyways, so I've got a lot in this video, so stick around for that. At the end of it, we're going to be wrapping it all up with some final thoughts for what I think it means for this week and where we're at in this whole process. So that should be interesting. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. All right, what is up, everybody? I am back with your weekly Jasmy update. I got a lot in this one, as always, even though it has been an absolutely slow week. We did have a Hara sighting. He is alive. He is well. He is tweeting. So that was the first time in, it seems like a couple weeks. So I picked a good time to step away for a few days. Again, thanks to everybody for the birthday wishes. Big thank you. Appreciate it. I am now in the 40 club. Which means that I can blame all of my shortfalls on user error. So that being said, let's get it going. So here we go. So we're going to kick it off here, not with the Bitcoin Conference 2023, though. That was a really funny post, I have to say. But we're actually kicking it off here with a post from Brian Russell. If you don't follow Brian, you're into Jasmy, definitely give Brian a follow. He is probably the number one researcher, I would say, in all of Jasmy. Now, granted, you know, Dip Metaverse, you're really good. Zippy Crypto, you're really good. But Brian's kind of like the big dog researcher. So anyhow, here's a post from Brian that talks about a job posting with Witz in particular. And so it says here, work location. It says the Future Society Joint Lab with Jasmy. So super cool, right? All about their job posting with Jasmy. This is involving one of their partners, Witz, but just super cool that they actually mentioned that in the job posting. They mentioned Jasmy, and that's the partnership with Witz. So I'm not really going to go into that too much. I got too much to cover here. Moving on up, here was a post from Hara on the 20th about the JMY. Anytime you see JMY, this is basically referring to Japan. And we'll talk more about that a little bit and a little bit later, basically because there has been a ton of movement within the various large wallets, okay? We've had a lot more coins coming out to market. Dip Metaverse, he's Johnny on the spot for that. He's got you covered. And how many coins are out there? Do not look at coin market cap because it is 100% wrong. So the true circulating supply is roughly over 36 billion coins right now. That's about 72%. We're ahead of the release schedule. All things going pretty well there. Why it's not updating in coin market cap, I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day that I've vented about plenty of times already. So moving on up. Let's see what else we got here. So this post here in particular that I retweeted was in Japanese. And if you follow this link, you know, for anybody who doesn't know how to translate these, I just look at these in Google Chrome and it'll translate automatically to English. But the link takes you to a link for the Hokkaido ballpark that's being built in 2023 for the Nippon Ham Fighters. And it says that one of the really big new partners is Panasonic, okay? Now, why that's a big deal is going back to this particular Medium article here. And this is one of these Keretsu / consortiums partnerships that they do in Japan, right? So it's Bitpoint, it's Jasmy, and it's the Nippon Ham Fighters. And in this particular post, this one was from December of 2021. They said that Tsuyoshi Shinjo, the second Japanese-born position player to play in Major League Baseball, and now the manager of the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters as a brand ambassador for its cryptocurrency exchange Bitpoint. So he's in the partnership with Bitpoint, and as part of that, he is receiving part of his contract money will be paid in Jasmy. So it's kind of Jasmy, it's Bitpoint, it's Nippon Ham Fighters, and now we have Panasonic all kind of in that group. Okay. So super cool on that. If you want to check that out, just follow this link here to the ballpark. This ballpark, I got to say also, is absolutely massive. Futuristic, really big time ballpark. This isn't like, like your AAA team is making a ballpark. I mean, this is like a legit big deal ballpark. So that's a really big thing that's coming on the horizon. That'll be next year though, 2023, when that goes live. So I would say stay tuned for that, because I think what's going to happen between now and then is with a Sagan Tosu and the fan token. We've got the registration wrapping up for that on September 1st. So depending on what happens there with the dynamic NFTs, I could definitely see that rolling out to the Nippon Ham Fighters in 2023. All right, moving on up. So after that, let's see here. I unfortunately had to tell y'all I couldn't make my weekly Jasmy video last week. My birthday was actually this past Monday, July 25th. However, my wife scheduled a huge family reunion. All my friends were there. I had like 40 plus people at my house for numerous days on end. Lots of fun, great times, lots of pictures, you name it. Good all around. Here's a post right here from Brian. So this is another one. And, every one of Brian's posts, it's like 1 of 4, 1 of 5. Brian's got so much research in these. Definitely check this one out if you're on my feed or if you're following Brian. He posted it on July 26th. And it mentions that Hara is the CEO of Tokyo Token, which is interesting because they supported Jasmy getting listed on Coinbase. Okay. Now, there's a lot of really interesting overlap and stuff that kind of happens behind the scenes here. So, if we go in and take a look at this here, it gets really interesting with these various groups. So if you scroll down here, 2 of 5. So he mentions, he got curious about this, look further into it because he was looking into Bellwood. Bellwood has been mentioned as the potential owner of Jasmy, who potentially bankrolled them off the ground, et cetera, whatever. And their main person, by the way, is this Masanori Suzuki. So probably need to learn a little bit more about him. But the gist of this post was Brian went on to show all these different companies here. I'm not going to bring this up or anything, but there are numerous companies all on the same floor, the 27th floor of this building, including Jasmy, including Tokyo Token, including Bellwood. They're all on the same floor. So, and they all work together in this model for innovation that Brian mentions here. So really, really good find, as always. By all means, check out that post. That was an excellent post. A ton of research went into that. And let me just say, with the various guys that do all the research here for Jasmy, the reason we do so much research, we've got this language barrier. It's things get lost in translation. You have a completely different culture. Jasmy as an investment is worldwide, but Jasmy as a company is very Japan centric. Okay, it really is. And the funny thing too is, we like to sort of poke fun at, how terrible the marketing is worldwide, right? But it's actually really, really good when you look at their marketing within Japan specifically. And the reason I think that is I think that Japan is the testing ground. That's the proof of concept. If they can do it there, they can do it anywhere, okay? And with that, we've also been able to track, this is interesting too through some of our research, we've been able to track basically this operation. We can track it to Ken Miura in Silicon Valley. We know Bellwood is also registered in Hawaii. Brian was also able to find that Jasmy is registered in Vietnam, and that may tie into Transcosmos and that call center secure PC. So I'm sure we'll have more on that in the future, and perhaps that's why Hara has been so quiet. Perhaps. But then again, maybe he's working on Tokyo Token. I don't know. All right, moving on up. So this post here. So from the user's point of view, this was an excellent interview, by the way. This was an interview with Katsumasa Sato, our CEO, and it was solid. And so I mentioned this quote here because I thought this was one of the best quotes from this entire interview. You can follow this again through Google Chrome; it'll translate it automatically. And he said, from the user's point of view, the quality of service is improved and the company side does not need to retain personal information, which lowers the management cost. So there's your sales pitch, right? Your sales pitch to companies. And we've been talking in our private groups about this. I know I saw the post. I don't know where it came from. But Dip Metaverse had mentioned to me that Jasmy is either at or near their 50 corporate businesses that they were going to onboard. So I'm assuming they're somewhere over 40 or over 45. They're really close. And I want to say, I think it was Danny confirmed that for us in Discord. So in terms of corporate businesses and onboarding with Jasmy, we've got somewhere near 50 already. Okay. So that's happening behind the scenes. Nothing public on that. No big announcements, but stay tuned on that, right? Maybe we're beating Hara to the punch on a few of these. Dip Metaverse, obviously, if you're not following him yet, give him a follow. He's on Twitter. He's on YouTube. He posted a really good video, which I'll kind of show you just a link to that in a second. But he's always tracking the Etherscan numbers. He's got the accounting background. His Excel skills are really, really good. And as of right now, the circulating supply is over 36 billion. So he likes to update everybody. Stay tuned for that. Moving on up, we got Blake here with a post about Tadashi Morita. So he is the inventor of the Felicia chip. So this is the secure PC, secure Guardian technology, essentially. He is a member of the Sony Computer Lab. And he also has an updated title with Jasmy, which I'll be showing you in a bit. But what Blake was highlighting here is just, all the talent that's on this team is just crazy talent on the Jasmy team with the backgrounds from Sony, right? All right, we got this post here from Manila Will. So the Senate just approved $280 billion to increase U.S. chip manufacturing, and Japanese Foreign Minister Y. Hayashi, I don't know his first name, and economy minister will travel to the U.S. to talk supply chains on Friday. Bullish news for the world of IoT and Jasmy. So like it says down here at the bottom, U.S. Japan to agree on improving chip supply chain. So that's really important right now, supply chains, right? We've been talking about that a lot with inflation, and Japan and the U.S. are really kind of lining up with each other on that. I also did a video. I think I posted this one maybe yesterday or the day before on Measurable data token. So I did a video last week on who Jasmy's competitors were, and of that competition, I really cited Measurable data token and I cited Chili's as probably the two main ones. Lo and behold, a couple days later, Measurable data token announced that it had been acquired by a company called Chain. So I did a video on that. They got an app there going for them. A lot of really impressive technology, super easy to read website, easy to follow. In that case, what they're doing is through the app, they're tracking your transactions. I had seen somewhere also, somebody had posted to me where they thought Jasmy was going to be doing that. And maybe they are, I don't know. But in particular, that's what they're doing with Measurable data token. And I had mentioned that they had a low market cap. It was right around 22 million. I thought this company was a perfect target for acquisition, and that's exactly what happened. So it looks like the MDDT token will be going away, and the chain token, which is XCN, will be replacing it. So more to come on that, but tentatively, they are kind of a Jasmy competitor in the world of democratization of data. So paying users for their data, right? That's what that is. All right, moving on up. So Hara had mentioned this post here. I want to say that ties back into the prior one that I had mentioned earlier. Which one was it? Let me go back down. This one right here. This is basically the exact same post that he was just retweeting. So we already touched on that. It was the interview with Katsumasa Sato. Okay. All All right, moving on up past that. Dip Metaverse, again, another great video. So he's got an Excel calculator. He's really good at math. Math is not my strong suit. I will fully admit it. I was always an English guy. Okay, I am not the math guy. I'm kind of like the big ideas guy, the leader kind of guy. I'm not the math guy. That's just not who I am. So he is really good at this. He's got a calculator. If you want the calculator, I know he's willing to share it, but it's kind of fun to just play with some of the numbers based on Jasmy's KPIs. These are the key performance indicators noted in the white paper, and kind of what would need to happen for these things to work out, the way they want them to, right? So stay tuned on that. That's kind of a neat little thing there. Outside of that, so this was a retweet I did with Brian yet again, where he was talking about Jasmy. And we were talking about, let's see here, after Sony and Honda announced plans to form a separate company from their joint electric vehicle partnership. So this is a partnership with Sony and Honda. And I want to say, I think it was Witz, I think was the one that was partnered with Honda as well. So Jasmy's partnered with Witz. So that's kind of how it goes, right? So behind the scenes, lots of partnerships tied into very big companies. Okay. All right, moving on. So this was kind of funny. So if you haven't seen this yet, this is an interview, and I'll have a link to it in the video description. It's with Katsumasa Sato, our CEO. He's in here, right? And it is like an hour and a half long, and they're having a serious conversation about the democratization of data. Now, what's really funny is this guy right here is sitting right next to him. It's so funny what a difference in cultures, right? So he's a serious CEO, former head of Sony Style. They're having a serious conversation with him, and right next to him is a guy dressed up like a bear with a light bulb on his head. So only in Japan, right? Really, really funny. But if you turn on the captions here, and you can turn them on YouTube, they're kind of hard to follow. I got to admit, it's really kind of hard, and you really got to pay attention. But hour and a half long video interview with him. And one of the things that I would like to say about him that I noticed in this video, as well as that other article featuring him, is that he is extremely confident. You could just kind of see it in his face, in his mannerisms. It's like he already knows, right? He's already got it figured out. So if you get the chance, follow the link. Like I said, I'll leave it in the video description. You can check him out on there. Follow the link to him in that article. I mean, he's just so confident. It's kind of crazy. And, obviously I know he's tied into BJIT as another company. That Masanori Suzuki with Bellwood, he's tied into, I think it was Japan Industrial Partners. I think that's what he was tied into. Anyway, all of these guys are tied into numerous companies and stuff under the surface. But anyhow, it was just really funny seeing him have a serious conversation with real people sitting next to a bear with a light bulb on his head. So moving on. But what was really important here, and I'd also like to highlight this, was this particular video has already had 437,000 views. So, for those of us who are in the US, who are in Europe, if you're in India, South America, wherever you're at, not everybody's heard of Jasmy. But look at this in Japan. This is what I was talking about with that proof of concept. They have to do it there. And part of their KPIs is onboarding 7 million users in Japan. Well, look at this, 437,000 views on this video. So a lot of views, really cool. And check that out if you get the chance. So we'll move on from there to Jasmy's website. Now, one of the things that absolutely drives me crazy is all of the different sources of information for Jasmy. This is why in every single video I say they really need somebody to be in charge of marketing, right? So I'm going to talk about that here. So they steadily have been updating, apparently, their webpage here. As far as I know, the Jasmy.global has been down the last day or two. It seemed like that was an official page. I'm pretty sure it's an official page. However, that one is down right now. The regular Japanese page, though, right here, jasmy.co.jp, is still up. Okay. Now, what's interesting in this one is they've been updating things kind of here and there throughout. Like there's a big advertisement for the Sagan Tosu fan token on the main page. But what I really wanted to show you was some of the stuff they updated here with the actual team, right? So Kunitake Ando, it used to say representative director. Now it says CEO. That's different. That's a change, okay? Katsumasa Sato, CEO, okay? Hara, there was a post from one of my followers on Twitter that had mentioned that Hara had marketing in his description. Well, guess what? It's not there anymore. There is no marketing in Hara's description, okay? Now, what's interesting when you scroll down even further, they talk about some more members of the team. So here is Tadashi Morita, or now Morita, looks like he goes by. This is a new title for him. So before, he was like a consultant with Jasmy. Well, now he is security supervisor and senior strategist. So this is different. This is a new title. That's another change, right? We got Takashi Hagawara, director. We got Shang Guo. He's the one with the background with Centrality. Centrality is the partnership, basically, that creates the Jasmy blockchain. That's from him. He's also got the background working in New Zealand and in Australia in particular, okay? So he's part of the team here. He's the Jasmy Soft Tech Chief Information Officer. That's been changed also. And then this is one of my favorite ones. So I'm probably going to butcher the name. Hidehiko Kakanuma. Okay, there we go. That's the only time I'm saying it. Chief Executive Officer, and listen to this, in charge of product and service planning, corporate planning, and frowny face here is in charge of marketing. So the one guy on the team that's like not smiling in his photo, clearly frowny, is our marketing guy. Now, I'm not going to knock him any more than that because I think he's actually done a pretty good job in Japan if he is indeed heading up the marketing. Because I think the marketing in Japan's been on point. It's the marketing for the worldwide investors through crypto world that hasn't quite been on point. It's a little bit of mixed messages, right? Now, I also wanted to show some other things on here, like this right here. And I think I've showed this in another video, but it's worth bringing up because there's this ICO FUD around Jasmy. And the FUD goes like this. Investors were told that Jasmy was doing an ICO, therefore they gave them money. To date, they've never received the coins. Well, the truth is that back when Jasmy was at the point that it would have done that, it wasn't allowed to. It wasn't legal in Japan, is what I'm trying to say. It was not legal in Japan. So their first main listing was MEXC. It was not an ICO. Okay. So anybody representing themselves as Jasmy or part of Jasmy in some form or fashion was not Jasmy. And the problem is that anybody who may have indeed paid money at that ICO, you paid a scammer, and now the scammer left with your money. That's kind of like what happened. And so for those people, you'll see various FUD posts throughout Twitter talking about this and citing it. And I get it why, but it's a misguided post because Hara has nothing to do with any of this. The actual Jasmy team has nothing to do with any of this. Who had something to do with it is the scammer. The scammer is now gone. Your only remedy in this situation would be like a legal case with an attorney against said scammer. But you can't do that when the scammer is gone. So that's kind of what happens there. Now, the reason I wanted to cite this is because it's at the bottom of their main page here. And what's really interesting, what I was reading about down here. So first of all, they basically say that anybody who's attempting to represent themselves as Jasmy is not Jasmy. And that's exactly what I've said with all these various third parties and whatnot. Jasmy is the main team. If it comes from the main team, it's official. If it comes from someone else, it's not. That's how it is, okay? Now, what's interesting here is that the contact is contact at bwe-inc.jp. Well, you know who BWE-Inc. is Bellwood Enterprise. Okay. So they're the ones on the same floor with Jasmy. They're potentially Jasmy's anonymous owner. Okay. Moving on. That really doesn't matter for the sake of anything or for the sake of any of us investing in it. But it does appear that, there was some sort of fraudster scam artist somehow tied into this stuff, but it has nothing to do with the actual team. Okay. So just wanted to touch on that. So again, lots of updates here on the main page that have been going on. And they really haven't put out any Medium article saying, hey, we updated the main page and we did the following things, or hey, we tweaked this or tweaked that. They really haven't done that. But if you look up top here, this is the Sagan Tosu fan token pre-registration. If you click that link, it'll basically take you in there. The only people who can pre-register at the moment are Japanese residents. So if you're not in Japan, you cannot register. Okay. So unfortunately, there's that. But if you really want to follow Jasmy and Sagan Tosu, I was looking the other day, and I have not been able to find the jerseys that they gave away, the 10,000 jerseys, but I have found the 2021-2022 jersey that has the Jasmy patch on the back, and it's got Tokyo token on the front. You can find that online. It's somewhere around 150 USD if you wanted to buy it. Or there's also numerous jerseys that are on eBay. However, the various jerseys are from different years. So Jasmy isn't necessarily on those, and Tokyo Token isn't necessarily on them. Okay. But nonetheless, really cool jersey if you want to check that out. Right. All right. Now, moving along here, just a couple other things. Jasmy Clubhouse. So I'll probably have more that I'll be talking about this in the future. I had a really, really good conversation the other day with the artist of the Jasmy Clubhouse. So I have learned a lot about this project in particular. I do know that the official Jasmy team signed off on these NFTs. So definitely show them some love. What's funny to me is in our Jasmy hodlers, there's over 32,000 wallets. But look at this. We only got 270 owners. Now, granted, there's 2.5. This is 2,500 basically. I think the number is 2525 out of 10,000 that were minted. The mint, as of right now, is closed on these. So show them some love. They're really cool. They've got the various kind of, inspired by obviously the Japanese themes. This guy's got, a little Jasmy token here. They've got various things and, in the metadata that make them unique. If you wanted to pick up one of these, I want to say, it looks like you can do it here with Ethereum. And I think originally, they were all minted on Polygon. So either way, they're all there now on the OpenSea. So check them out if you want to find a pretty cool NFT. And if you get those, you may get some exclusive access within the main Jasmy Discord that's out there. All right, moving on. We had a post, I want to say it was a week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago, they mentioned something about how they're rolling Jasmy out in Sector 1. No one really knew what it meant. And then Jasmy US on Twitter mentioned to us on our weekly call, hey guys, Sector 1 is an area of Tokyo. Like, oh, that's what it meant. So Sector 1 is kind of like right here on the map. This is basically the map of Tokyo. Sector 1's right there where they were rolling out Jasmy. Okay. Moving on forward. So I did want to go over to Etherscan. I am not going to go too in-depth into this because I think Dip Metaverse has it covered. Really what I want to highlight here is just a few things and kind of make a few points. First of all, Mount Jasmy. Look at this. 32,000, still climbing, baby, right? So Mount Jasmy, as I've told everybody, this is how I view it. It is like a volcano in the Pacific Island, right? Because everybody knows, or at least should know, that Japan is situated geographically on what's known as the Ring of Fire. This is why they had the absolutely massive tsunami, massive underwater earthquake, all that stuff, right? So I view Jasmy as like Mount Jasmy. It's like a volcano rising out of the Pacific Ocean, right? And it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as more people learn about this project, okay? So we got 32,000 hodlers right now. My goal that I would like to see, and granted, this is in a down bear market. We are still adding people all the time. I would like to see this thing hit like 100,000 by the end of next year, and I think that's more than possible. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the market turns around, shows us some love. We get some movement on up from there. Now, what I did want to highlight here is down here, these numbers. These are the Hodler wallets, right? And some of these wallets have gotten larger. There's some real big ones. Some of these, like the Binance one, this MEXC one. There's some huge wallets. Here's another big Binance one where these coins have been moving around, right? And there's been significant movement from what was here earlier when I used to really track this between these 500 million token wallets, the 400s and the 300s. Significant movement. And, the question is, well, why? Why is there so much significant movement? They have been providing a lot of liquidity lately. A lot has been going out weekly. Okay. That's why the Jasmy chart hasn't really been taken off, because they keep adding liquidity. They basically have to do this. It's part of the white paper. For anybody surprised by this, you really shouldn't be, because it's in the white paper and it's been in the white paper from day one. You just have to read the white paper. Okay. So they will be adding tokens up until they get not exactly to the 50, but near it. They will be adding these tokens, right? They have told us generically in their roadmap update that they wanted 60 plus centralized exchanges by third quarter, 70 plus fourth quarter, and so on. So I would expect them to continue to do that. Now, the big domino here right now is in particular with Japan. So if they get one more exchange, then they can be listed on any of them. They're green listed. So I think that could be maybe what's happening behind the scenes here. And that could possibly be another reason why we haven't heard from Hara in a little while, right? So we know that they're working on DD Coin. They have to be working on a wallet here. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that we haven't seen for ourselves, okay? And they're probably due for a good, Medium article update, something like that. Again, cough, cough, marketing manager, cough, cough, right? I don't know if our frowny face guy, from Sony Bank is necessarily the best, but I will give him credit. Everything is going great in Japan. Okay, so that's enough on that. So anyhow, with all of these wallets, there has been a lot of liquidity added as of late. And like I said, Dip Metaverse, he's got this down. We are over 72% in circulation. So whatever's on coin market cap, it's probably 4.75 billion. That's never, ever, ever going to be updated for whatever reason. Don't know. That's completely wrong. The real number is 36 billion in circulation, roughly 72%. Okay. All right. Lastly, this is probably a bit of a wild card, but I'm just going to throw this out there. One of the members of our community is a guy named DJ Lebo, who is a house DJ. And if you're into house music, I was into house music for quite a while. Everybody always sees my background stuff. I got all these guitars and I got a drum set in here. I'm a rock guy. I've got all that stuff. But I actually like a lot of different kinds of music. I really like jazz. I really like dance music. I love punk music, ska. I love music from around the world, all kinds of stuff, right? I just like a little bit of everything. But anyway, so DJ Lebo, if you are into house music, check him out. This is absolutely awesome. So you can check him out on SoundCloud. He's also on this other one. It's Heart This. He's on that heartthis.at. Give him some love. DJ Lebo, really, really good stuff. I was listening to this the other day, just jamming. So absolutely awesome. Shout out to Lebo. He does a ton of research. Great guy in the community. Absolutely love him, right? And he's in Wales. So that being said, that's what we got for the main video here. Now I'm going to wrap it up with some final thoughts on what I think is going on right now. All right, now let's wrap this video up with some final thoughts. So, where do we think we are at right now in this whole process with Jasmy? Well, we know the tokens being released are definitely way ahead of schedule, okay? So we got 72% out there in the circulating supply. I would expect them to continue to add tokens throughout this bear market. That's what they want to do, okay? They have a strategy here. Hara has commented on this before that numerous members of their team have significant experience with the stock market. So there is a corporate strategy. This is part of the white paper. They're not just dumping the coins and dumping on everybody. That's not what this is, okay? Corporate strategy. That's why whenever you watch my videos or this channel, I say, hey, if you're going to invest, do it in a DCA way. You don't ever want to just take a huge lump sum and sink it in because it could go down, right? Now, that being said, the actual chart, which I didn't show earlier, has been bottoming out at around 0.008. So I'm not so certain it's going to go below that, but to be determined, right? We are having some easing in some of the global landscape regarding the inflation. But, you know, those Fed rate hikes, those don't necessarily help either. So, you know, you got to pick your poison there with what's going on. In terms of Jasmy, though, so what's interesting is some of these connections. And I want to go back to all that work that Brian Russell did with the 27th floor. They're all on the same floor. So, you know, Jasmy's on there, Bellwood's in there, Tokyo Token's in there. All these different people kind of overlap in various roles. And I think that Sato, he does that as well. He overlaps with BJIT. And as I mentioned, you look at him in that article, you look at him in that video, look at how confident this guy is. He's extremely confident. It's like, you know, I would buy anything he's selling. I mean, he is like on point. He really is. He talks a very good game. Now, granted, he's sitting next to a bear with a light bulb on its head. But that's just how it is in Japan, right? So anyway, really funny on that front. Regarding the baseball stadium in Hokkaido with the Panasonic partnership, again, big deal because all these things sort of back around to Jasmy. And you also got to remember too, I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but when Kunitake Ando was the head of Sony, from 2000 to 2005, Sony always has a board, and on that board are various people from other companies that are kind of involved in this. So you see those people showing up again and again, like with their bank, for example. There's different people that are on that board that kind of come and go and show up. So very interesting on that front, all right? So in terms of what's happening right now, it seems like the team is just kind of working behind the scenes, trying to make sure everything rolls out the way they want it to. I've been saying all along, I think the fourth quarter is probably going to be pretty important for us. The pre-registration for Sagan Tosu wraps up September 1st. For the fan token, that's a really big deal. We got to see how many they onboard from there. One of the things that I've been focused on a lot is on the Jasmy.global site when it's up again. Granted, it's been down for a couple days. When it's up again are the actual real users, right? So I mentioned earlier, I was talking about those KPIs. All of those are just projections. This is just projection, okay? But it really matters to see where they actually end up here. And I want to say, I think it was the interview where Sato's sitting next to the bear. He actually said at one point, we're a company founded on a big idea. We don't necessarily know where we're going to be, you know, like 5 years from now into the future. But he did say, but we think there's going to be, how did he phrase it? It's not exactly like this, so I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically that around the world, they think other people around the world will also key on this idea and see the value in it. And I think he's 100% right. And what separates Jasmy from all the other competition is the personal data locker. Plus, they also have Tadashi Morita and all of his technology with the Felicia chip, which, by the way, is not just in Jasmy. It's all over the place. It's licensed, right? That's the way it works. So when somebody comes up with something really good like that, they can license it out all over the place. This is what they do on Shark Tank, right? So on Shark Tank, somebody comes in and they're always like, hey, what about licensing, right? So they want to license this idea out all over the place. Well, that's what Sony does with the Felicia chip. It's licensed out all over. The difference is that the guy who actually invented it is on the Jasmy team. So that's super cool, right? So they've still got a lot of feathers in their cap here. You know, obviously I touched on that measurable data token being bought out. hey, we'll see what happens there. Who knows? I thought they were a little fish that would probably get swallowed into someone else's umbrella. What's interesting is that the head of that company is staying on. They'll just be reporting through chain. So see what happens on that front. Who knows? But I think that Jasmy still has a ton going for it right now, and there's so much happening under the surface. Like we said, they haven't publicly come out and say that they're in Vietnam, but we know they're in Vietnam. So thanks to all the researchers out there. So that being said, check out the Jasmy NFTs, check out Lebo's dance music if you're into that. Shout outs to all those guys, and definitely check out our weekly call that we do on Sunday evening. Usually the time for me is 5:30 Eastern US, so wherever you're at, it would go off of that. Those are headed by Jasmy US, is usually the host. A bunch of us guys are on there. We talk about it. I haven't been on the last couple weeks just because I've been super busy, but once I see that invite go out, I will retweet it, so keep an eye out for that. Join that, and then I'll see you next time. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more news from Hara. We do know he's alive and well. All right? So that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting, retweeting. Check me out there. If you want to support the channel, I'm also got a Patreon page. You can support the channel there. If you want to go to the website, I've got the website. I got the shop, all kinds of things there. Check that out too. And lastly, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.